Thanks for joining me today. This is Jen Lee with Jentastic Journey, and today I'm going to show you an evolution to my craft room, specifically my stamp storage. Those of you who saw my craft room renovation video, one of my most popular videos, you saw that I use these plastic boxes that nestle into these big clear suitcases. I have 3 of them for all my stamps. Well, I'm converting them to a new process because some of them don't work anymore. It's hard to sort through all these little stamps, so the more stamps I got, the more difficult it became, and they're just overcrowded and difficult, so therefore I don't stamp as often. What you're going to need for this project are these laminating pouches, and then what I put on the inside is a PVC transparent binding cover, and I'll put everything in the description box below. But I am taking what would be the sheet that the stamps go on, and because I cut them up to put them in those boxes originally, I'm now putting them on the PVC sheet, and I'm using the PVC sheet primarily to make this a thicker page. So the laminating pouches, even though they're 5 mils, they are still flimsy without the PVC insert. And I bought several of these, so this is the one that works. I wanted to make sure I didn't have to cut anything down because I watched literally hundreds of videos on people and the different things that they did, and most of them cut things down and they were using label makers, and it was just very complicated. I wanted to use what came with the stamps, and I'm categorizing them, so these are all my love and Valentine's type stamps. And then once I get all those pieces in, I'm just laminating it. So I'm just putting it through this very basic Amazon Basics laminator. And then what it does is it encloses it in, and then I simply have to put the stamps on the back. So no different than how most stamps are kept today. They are attached to some sort of PVC. Then I used a hole punch to punch out some holes so that this can go in a binder for me. And if you wait till the end, I will show you that throughout this process, I changed a lot of different things. I learned as I went, and I'm going to show you what I learned, my lessons learned at the end of this video. And so as you can see here, I was kind of doing 2 things at once. I used one side of my desk for one page, and then I would put the stamps on the other side of my desk for the other page that is being currently laminated. That way I could take the time when it's being laminated to put the stamps back on each of these sheets. And the stamps stay beautifully, and I'm going to flip through my binder later on so that you can see that they don't fall off. Will they never fall off? I don't know, but I feel like they feel very strong, and even if they fell off, they would just fall to the page in front of it, so I don't really feel like it's going to be much of an issue. So the hardest part of this was originally, and this is one of my first or second attempts, I didn't organize the stamps. So I would take all the pages off and just toss the stamps to the side. Eventually what I ended up doing was I put them in a very strategic order. So I would take the backing to the stamp, I would put it on the page, and I would put that stamp in the exact same place next to me so that it didn't become this search and find thing with the stamps. What will be easier when I use the stamps is that there'll be only 1 or 2 missing, so I will be able to find the spot that I need to very easily. So I started with a pivoting binder, and I'll show you at the end what I ended up having to go to because these actually take up a lot more space than you would think that they do. So these are my other holiday stamps. And so I have stamps organized by sentiments and sayings, and then I have all my pictures and scenery separate, and I had those in separate of those plastic suitcases. So I'm going to do the same thing with the binders. I'm going to put all my sentiments in one binder, and then I'm going to put all my other stamps, the pictures and things and scenes and backgrounds and all those kinds of things in another binder so that I can go to either binder and then it's half as many to look through. Because as you'll see, this gets to be a lot to look through, but I still think this is a fantastic process, and I'm super glad I went to this. So again, here you go. The biggest thing is you want to kind of hold on to the sheet so that when you put it into the laminator, things don't shift around too much. Sometimes I had to put it through the laminator more than once. If it had a lot of little things to go through, then sometimes it didn't adhere them all, and so it got a little bit more cloudy, and I wanted it to be kind of clean. And so here's that pivotal binder I was talking about. So it said that it could expand, but I found that those binder, the little 3 rings for the binding, they are very small, and that became my issue. So you'll see at the end that I do change this. And I have room on some of the pages. If I get more stamps, which I am kind of at my limit with stamps, I occasionally will get another holiday set or something like that. I really don't think I'm going to need it. So again, I put the PVC page in so that it would be a little bit more sturdy, and then I moved it all the way over to the right so that I would have enough room on the sides for those 3 hole punches. And then here you can see this looks a lot different than that little hole punch thing I had, because it was seriously hurting my hands to try and hole punch each hole. So I got this 3-punch hole puncher. It is a dream. So well worth it. I think it was $15, but I think with as many of these as I punched out, I think it was a good purchase. So here you can see I did all of the stamps, and then I decided to try and add it to the book. And this is where I was like, holy cow, there is a lot here. And I'm trying to organize them to be like the most frequently used towards the front. And obviously I wanted to keep the same types of stamps together. So I kind of have them organized by like happy birthday, and then I have thanks, and then I have sympathy and other holidays, baby, wedding, get well, thinking of you. That's kind of the pattern. And then later on you'll see I'll put in some dividers to these binders so that it'll be easier to see, number one, because you almost need pages in between some of these just so you can see it a little bit better. So especially the white ones that I got were really nice in the sense that it brightens it up so you can see kind of what you're looking at a little bit more. And so this is just me trying to put them in and then quickly finding out that this binder is not going to be big enough. And here you can see I'm kind of struggling to get it to close, and then it's got these little pieces. So here's my lessons learned. I went with these monstrous binders. They were very inexpensive. They're still quite a bit bigger than what I thought I need. They have a clear thing on the front where I can put something in it. Also, there's one on the inside. These are those binder section separators that I got, and these are some that you can write on. And then you can see none of these stamps are falling off. Then you get to another section. And so I really like the white because you can see a lot more with the white. And I really don't have any issues. That's a new stamp set that I have to add to it. Again, I think that what I will simply do, and I'll show you in a second, again, another section. This is my thanks section. Thanks, and I think thinking of you. Congratulations. This is as exciting as it gets, and you could see I cut out one here. So that's the only one where you're probably like, what did she do there? I cut it out. It was the wrong section, so I just cut it out and I pasted into the other one. So you can, make this your own, and I can re-laminate that one. I have a lot of space on this one, so if I needed to, I can just put that little piece and put some tape, like some serious tape on the back of it, and you won't know that it's not actually laminated in there. So that's something that I can definitely do as I get more stamps. I could actually just get a whole nother page and laminate it as well. I have tons of laminated pouches and tons of that PVC stuff left. It was hard for me to tell how many I needed, so I think I got like 100 of each or 50 of each at least, and I did not use all of it, but I still have not finished. And there's another pouch at the end there, but I still have not finished all my background and shapes and those kind of stamps. I finished my sentiments, but not the other one. And you can see how the stamps are just really staying on nicely when you flap it around. No problems with it falling off. Occasionally it gets a little stuck on some of the little 3-ring binders, but only if you're flopping it back and forth a lot and not really being careful. So my lessons learned would be buy a great big binder. Find one that has one of these little buttons on it, because that saves you as well. Having to tear those things apart was a lot as well. Also, I would get a 3-punch puncher. They're not terribly expensive, but if you use those little handheld ones, it really is hard on your hands. Also, those dividers, I think I'm going to laminate them because those are actually just paper-based ones. And I'm going to show you my other one where I used some plastic ones, and they are much, much better. They are an Avery brand. So see these, they're made out of an actual plastic. So I'll have to use probably my laminator to make the labels for this one, but that's okay because they're a lot stronger than those paper-based ones that I have in the other one. So here you can see these are the beginning of my shapes and backgrounds and those kind of stamps, not so much the sentiments anymore. I do have a couple of sentiments in there only because they match the stamp set. So if they talk about, bees, I'm going to put them in with the bees, that kind of thing. So that's the other binder that I'm going to use. And again, I think it'll be just as good, even though it's not white, to be able to see a little bit better. I hope this gives you at least some thought about how you can organize your stamps. And if you wanted to do it by type of stamp or brand of stamp, you could certainly do that as well. I am an everyday stamper. I don't sell stamps. I'm not affiliated with any stamp company. The way I like to organize my stamps is just by type of stamp and not brands or anything like that. So I have a lot more leeway maybe than some of you, but again, you could use this if you wanted to put all one brand of stamp in there. You could certainly do that. So thanks for joining me today. If you would, please click the like button if you enjoyed this content, and also subscribe to my small channel. I'd love to see you in my next video. Thanks so much for joining today.